Good afternoon, everyone. I'm showing you my Surf Green Stratocaster, and I want to tell you about a problem that I had with this guitar that I was able to fix myself and help you to try and fix it if you're encountering the same problem. The issue was with the high E string. This string, when I got this neck, this is a replacement neck. When I got this neck, this string on the high E side was so close to the edge of the neck that every time I played this guitar, it would slip off. There's a couple different reasons why this can happen. The easiest way to fix it is actually to loosen the bolts back here on the neck pocket, and that will allow you to adjust the alignment of the neck in the neck pocket, and that will often address that issue, that problem with the string being too close to the edge so it slips off all the time. I'm going to leave a link in the comments to a video that was done by Phillip McKnight where he goes through this operation on a similar guitar. He did it on a Squire Strat that he had, but he does a really good job, and he has a really good video on this issue. And I would subscribe to his channel. He's excellent. He's got a lot of good videos on electric guitar and how to take care of your instruments. But his video shows you how to fix that, the easiest way to try and fix it at the neck pocket by slightly tweaking the neck alignment in the pocket. It sounds scarier than it is. It's not a big deal. So watch his video and you'll see. If that doesn't work, and it didn't work for me, then you may have to look at your nut. Now that nut that you're seeing there is not the nut that came with this neck. That's a nut that I inserted in there myself. This nut right here is the nut that came with the Fender neck when it was delivered from the factory. And as you can see, when I put that old nut up against the new one, you can see that the strings on the high treble side of the register here are not aligned very well. And they're closer to the edge of the guitar than they should be. And if you look on the other side, on the bass side, you can see that they're closer to where they should be. So, that difference, which is not very big, caused this string to be too close to the edge. And since this guitar's neck has a rolled fret edge, it made the problem even worse. It kind of brings the edge of the guitar neck, that way, whereas the nut brings the string that way, and it just makes the comfort level there tighten up so much that that string just wasn't it wasn't fixable with this old nut. So I took this nut out. Now that too might sound like a pretty daunting operation to do, but it isn't. And I want to just show you how I did it. What you do is you take the strings off, obviously, and you're going to want to take an X-Acto knife and score the joint between the nut and the guitar's lacquered surface there. Oftentimes that lacquer that's on the guitar neck, will bridge that joint between the nut and the wood. And if you pop the nut out, it will cause lacquer to chip off and it'll look really bad. So take that X-Acto knife, score along that joint, and then go to the other side and score along there, and do the same thing in this area here. Take an X-Acto knife and score this joint between the wood and the nut, and do it again over here. And you're just creating a situation where you can release that nut from the guitar without chipping away the lacquer that's immediately adjacent. And then after that, you can either take a fret hammer and just tap on the nut, or you can take an awl or another, like even a nail will work. And you just touch it up against the side of the nut and then just lightly tap it with a hammer on the other end. And that nut will pop right out. Then you're in a position here where you have the old nut removed. Then you can measure the old nut, make sure you have the right measurements, and order a new nut. I ordered this nut from the Graphtec company in Vancouver, British Columbia. Really good company, and their website has thousands of nuts to choose from. But first, I would measure your old nut. I would get one of these string action rulers. I got this one from Stu Mac, and this has two sides of measurements on it. I would recommend you use millimeters, which is down here on the bottom. This allows you to make measurements that are far more precise than inches. Inches are difficult to work with, and millimeters, it's just it's super easy. So measure your nut, both the width of the nut, its height this way, and you're also going to want to measure the string alignment, the distance between each of the strings, and have that data available. You'll be able to find a replacement nut on Graphtec's website. And when that nut comes in the mail, you're going to want to sand it so it will fit into that nut slot. And then you can use an old guitar string and just dab a tiny bit of wood glue in there just to make sure that the nut doesn't move. And then press that nut in, and you should be good to go. The nuts, this one came from Graphtec pre-slotted, and there wasn't any need to use, although I have the nut files, there wasn't any need to file this nut, and it works perfectly.